Life without music is a journey through a desert. This quote about life without music was made by Pat Conroy. A lot of people think about life without music, but not many people think about the educational side. And a lot of people who do think about the educational side, they think that it's not useful. They think that it's worthless, a waste of time. However, that is not true. Music education is incredibly important. And there are downsides, but there are far more benefits than there are issues. And I'm going to prove that by talking about the short-term benefits and the long-term benefits for the student and the opposing viewpoint. So, to start it off with the immediate benefits, I'm going to talk about a web article called How Children Benefit from Music Education in Schools by the NAMM Foundation. Now, this article talks about many different benefits, and one of the most prominent is that people who take music education tend to get better test scores in math, memory, spelling, and reading. And schools who have music education tend to have better attendance rates. Now, both of those make sense. Reading music, you have to be able to memorize and you have to be able to be quick at reading. And in terms of the higher attendance, school without music can be really boring, more boring than it already is for a lot of kids. And so, if there's music, more people will attend the school because it's more fun. So next, we're going to look at the long-term benefits. So we're going to be talking about NAMM's article as well as an article by Brain Balance, in which they discuss the correlation between music and math more specifically than the other three topics. So one thing that's talked about in both those articles is the fact that learning how to play music teaches great work ethic. It's like the saying, practice makes perfect, because when you play an instrument, you have to be really good at practicing that instrument, and you have to practice that instrument for long periods of time, usually without a break, and where your only reward will be playing it well. That's pretty much the definition of good work ethic, and that's an incredibly useful skill for anybody, especially children, to know. And another very important impact is that it improves standardized tests and SAT scores. Now, standardized tests are very important for schools because it shows how well they're teaching their children. And SATs are important because it may impact what type of college you get into. That being said, we now understand the long-term benefits of music education. But if all that's true, then what could the opposing viewpoint possibly have to say? Well, I'm going to be taking a look at a web article called Negatives of Music in School by John McDaniel. And to argue the opposite side, I'm going to talk about the other two articles I already mentioned and 20 important benefits of music in our schools by NAME, or National Association for Music Education. So the first argument that McDaniel has is that it's expensive. That's true. However, a lot of teachers and parents have stated that they would rather cut 11 out of 12 other core classes before music because of all of the benefits. And so if all of them can agree that all these other things should be cut first, then expense is not a problem because they'll cut other stuff first, theoretically anyway. The next one is that it detracts from academics. I already proved that wrong, and I'll summarize it again here. It improves your score. Learning to read music can improve your score in math, reading, spelling, and memory. And so, yes, it takes time away from those subjects, but it makes it so that the time that you're spending in those subjects is more valuable. The next one, unfortunately, I can't refute. Competition. Now, I'm all for a healthy competition, but this isn't a healthy competition. This is battling for first chair. And that means somebody's going to lose. And that's not always great for people's psychological health. And not to mention just their emotions. And somebody has to lose because somebody has to play every single part. And so if you promote competition unhealthily like that, it's not going to end well. And the next point is that there are going to be more stolen items. That one's as simple as it sounds. Instruments are expensive, so people are going to steal them. There's no way to really refute that either. And so, with all of that, we have seen how important music is and how important music education is. And even though there are all of those negative effects of music education, the benefits still outweigh the issues. I've shown you that with the short-term and the long-term benefits, as well as the opposing viewpoint. So that being said, once again, we now know why it's important. So now what? Well, now we have to get our kids into those schools with music, and not just so that they will learn better, but so that we can prove the opposing viewpoint wrong. Nothing's going to happen unless we prove them wrong. Thank you, and have a great day.